Let's go over everything you need to know to think of an app idea, build it fast and easy, make real money from it, and potentially sell it for hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is the stuff that every other founder gatekeeps, so I haven't seen anything online about it. In terms of why I think you should listen to me on this topic, I'm James. I was a machine learning engineer at Uber and Amazon. I've built over 11 different apps in the last few years. Majority of them failed, but one of them, ChatShape.com, I sold for 6 figures last year. And my new app, ClipMove.com, has already hit hundreds of thousands of users in just a couple of months and thousands of dollars in monthly recurring revenue. And all of these strategies I'm going to talk about were used to get those metrics. I am not claiming to be an expert on this. I'm literally just a random guy who had to learn all of this the hard way. And I just hope the tips in this video will prevent you from having to go years in the wrong direction like I did. Let's get into that video. Okay, bro. So this is finally the time I've decided to make this video. I was about to complete some work on my website, but instead decided to procrastinate by making this video. This is the full 5-step process to building any successful app, all the way from idea to building marketing and even potentially attracting acquisition offers to your app for hundreds of thousands of dollars, hopefully, right? So let's start with the idea. How do you validate your idea? This is the most common question I get asked. And it's the wrong question, because you don't want to validate any idea. You want to steal your idea. Let me explain. So let's say you've probably been in this situation. You've been with a couple of friends. Someone suggests an app idea. They're like, this would be a really cool app. And then someone is like, actually, that already exists. That is the most, I hate when someone says that so much, because imagine someone else suggested they want to open a burger restaurant and they give the same response. Actually, that already exists. That doesn't make sense, right? There are thousands of burger restaurants. All of them are successful. They're only unique in very small ways. Most of them are very similar. And they're all successful because the TAM, or total addressable market, is very large for that. The demand is so huge that even if you open a burger restaurant right across the street from another one, it's still going to perform well because of that demand. So the same thing applies to apps. So what you want to do is actually steal your idea by going on TikTok or Instagram Reels. I just suggest scrolling through. Maybe you've seen an app before that you really resonate with. Maybe the problem affects you. So you're like, yeah, I would love to build something like this. So that's how you find your idea. You want to pick something that is already proven. If there's an app that is already being paid for, it has hundreds of thousands of customers, that means that the demand is already proven and there's nothing for you to do. If you look at one of these startup accelerators like Y Combinator, they will tell their startup people, the founders, they'll tell them, you need to go and validate a new idea. And the reason they do this is because they're selfish and they want the startup to do billions of dollars. They don't want it to just be $1 million company if you're building solo. But the thing is, finding a unique idea is extremely difficult because you now need to go and validate that idea, talk with customers. If you're building apps solo, you don't have time for that. You just need to start building and start making money, right? We don't want to spend years just interviewing customers. That's not what life is about. So we want to start making money. Let's skip all of that. Steal the idea. Originality is dead. Focus on stealing a good idea and then just making it better. Okay, so let's say at this point you have stolen an idea. You have an idea that has proven demand, a proven market, content that is performing on Instagram Reels, TikTok, whatever, something on social media, right? The product is working. It's attracting customers. You like it. You want to build it. You might think, okay, the next step, James, right, is to build the MVP. Can I go and build it now, James? No, this is not the second step at all. Because the trick is we are building this app solo, right? So you as a tiny little baby potentially may not be able to compete with this big company. Maybe there's too much competition in the market. So if you just start posting content, you'll see, oh, I can't actually get views. I can't actually get any distribution for my product because there's too much competition for this, whatever type of content I'm creating. What you need to do is actually test if you yourself can access this market reliably and consistently. So what you do is what I call test marketing. So you may say, James, well, I don't have a product. How am I supposed to market something, right? Well, the thing is, you can just build a landing page, throw a sign-up form where people can enter in their email, and then create content directing people to the sign-up form, saying the product's going to come out in like a couple of days. Are you ready for it? That way you are actually seeing conversions happen. It may not be a monetary conversion, but you're at least seeing that people are interested in it and you're seeing how many people you can get on an email list. Later on, when you actually launch the product, you now also have customers that you can potentially directly email and contact, which is great. So test marketing is always good. You always want to do this. Not only can you get more customers, but you are proving to yourself that you can consistently and reliably access this audience. So in the test marketing step, you are creating content, maybe it's on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, whatever social media you choose. You are directing that audience, those views to your website. And then on the website, you have the email form, but you can also take it a step further. What you can do is ask people to prepay. So when they're on this website, and they are entering their email form, you could add a prepay button saying, hey, the product's going to come out in a couple of days. Do you want to get an early bird price by prepaying for it? And this is amazing because you're actually getting confirmation that you can get people paying from the content all the way to the product. Of course, this may be difficult if it's going to take a long time to build the product, but this is what the experts do. All right, so now for the fun part. How do you actually build your app? There are a lot of options on different tech stacks you can use. But my philosophy is to keep everything as simple as possible. So for example, for the front end, I just use Next.js, JavaScript, TypeScript for the front end of the website, and then Vercel for hosting. Vercel is incredibly expensive. It is not something you want to be using potentially long term. But if you're just starting out, it's so easy to use. It's so easy. It handles so much for you that I highly recommend it. I use it for all of my past startups. So Vercel is what you want to do for hosting, Next.js for the front end of the web app. And then for the back end, I sometimes use Python and AWS for Lambdas. If there's some certain backend functionality that's too heavy to run on Next.js functions, then on the functions hosted on Vercel, then I just use Python and AWS for some of those. And then the big one is Supabase, which handles both the database as well as authentication for the app. So Supabase is great. I only think I pay about $20 a month for it. So that's perfect. And then I just decided to include AI tools here because these two are great. Cursor, I think everyone knows about Cursor at this point. And then V0. V0 is a front-end AI coder, and it is amazing because if you're copying an app, what you can do is take screenshots of what maybe the front end of their website looks like, and then just paste it into V0, and V0 will build it out for you. So it is amazing. And then for payments, I of course use Stripe. You can also use Lemon Squeezy, but I think that was also acquired by Stripe. And then if you are handling international payments, if you're dealing with a lot of those kinds of payments, you might want to deal with Paddle. And then the most important one is PostHog. PostHog lets you look at analytics like screen recordings, what people are doing when they access your website. Understanding user behavior is so important early on to know if you've built a good product. This is, I've left it in its own kind of category to emphasize just how important this is. You want to install this on your website. It is going to help so much with your app. So you have built your app now, and maybe you even have like a couple of customers. At this point, you want to grow your app. So how exactly do you do that? Well, the first option, I'm going to give you two options. One of them is a complete cheat code. The other one is a little more obvious, but the first one is something that literally always works and is an extremely powerful strategy. So the first one is what I call the Michael Jordan strategy. So what you want to do is find the biggest content creator in the niche where your product is. So for example, if for me, I was building a video editor and I found a content creator that makes content for other content creators, and he's like one of the biggest ones in the space. And I partnered with him because I know that he already accesses the audience that I need access to. So what you do is you find that Michael Jordan of your niche, that content creator, you go to him and you say, hey, I'm going to give you this percent of equity, maybe this percent of payment, a cash retainer every month. And you are going to promote the tool in X amount of videos. But if you give them equity, the trick is now they are incentivized to help you grow the company. And they're probably going to be making videos every day to try to grow their share, right? So this is an extremely powerful strategy. It works with pretty much every niche. And then you don't have to worry as much about marketing, right? Now you can go and just build the app, have fun optimizing conversion rates and things like that are really important. You don't have to worry as much about creating content, and that's what we want to offload off of our shoulders as founders. So the second option, in case this is not an option, maybe there's no really big creator that you can find, or maybe you cold email a bunch of creators and none of them want to associate with your product. In that case, what you could do in step two is create your own influencers, or you contact micro influencers and pay them a cash retainer or maybe a small amount of equity to promote your product. And this is kind of similar to step one, but you're creating your own virality instead of relying on somebody else's already existing audience and distribution. So in this step, you are building your own distribution. And when you are creating content, what you can do is you find a piece of content that works in either case of these strategies. What you want to do is take that piece of content and start running paid ads with it. So, for example, if it's a TikTok or Instagram reel that went viral, got millions of views, that is the piece of content you don't want to waste. You don't want to just not do anything with it and just keep posting organic. You want to take that piece of content and start running paid ads with it on Facebook or on YouTube, wherever you can, because that is the strategy that all the big boys do. And finally, I wanted to touch on the subject of how, let's say you grow the app really huge, right? You have thousands of users. How do you actually attract acquisition offers? At some point, you get kind of tired of the day to day customer support, answering questions, building and growing the products, marketing. So at some point, you might just say, I want to sell this. How do you attract acquisition offers so you don't have to keep running the app if you don't want to? Well, it's very easy. One way is you can just go to a website called acquire.com and you can list your startup there. And there's a bunch of buyers that are looking for startups all the time. I did find that when I was trying to sell a couple of startups in the past there, I got a lot of low bids, a lot of people who contacted me and just low bid whatever I posted. And so you're going to get a lot of that. So be prepared for that. But the other option is that you start building your audience as a founder. So, for example, you can start posting about your journey building the product on Twitter. This is what I did. And that's how I was able to sell chatshape.com, as I was posting about my process and building the product, all the highs and lows on Twitter. And eventually I met a lot of founders there. And one of them reached out to me, who works at a big company, and he was interested in acquiring Jape. So that is how you do that. And that's pretty much the 5-step process, all the way from idea. We went to test marketing, build marketing growth, and then finally, how to attract acquisition offers. So I hope this video was helpful for you. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you next time.